Hey everybody, it's PartyElite. Welcome you back to our mini Let's Play in Endless Legend 2. Once again, we're playing as the Aspects faction in a very early build of the game, and I just want to really quickly first off thank y'all for expressing your positive thoughts about that first episode. Really glad to see so many of you have enjoyed it, and I just want to mention right off the bat that moving forward we're probably going to pick the pace up quite a bit, since I no longer have to explain the core mechanics of the game, the genre, and even our faction. With that said, there are still a few extremely unique mechanics yet to be revealed, and we'll probably see some of those this session itself, so don't feel like you've seen everything there is to see just quite yet. With that said, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get this party started. As we do so, folks, just want to really quickly mention that if you are enjoying Endless Legend 2 on the channel and you would like to see more of it, don't hesitate to hit that like button down below and perhaps leave a comment saying as much as well. With that said, let's first off establish our coral spore that I've kept talking about for the last, it feels like, 15 minutes or so of the previous episode. What I'm thinking we'll do is establish a coral spore over here, which will actually be the attachment to our city that I'll put down over here. This is a really nice hub for industrial output as well as food output, and I'm going to take a bit of a chance with regards to what might happen further down south as well, and that'll make sense in, a handful of turns' time. So this is going to be the attachment, much like we're doing over here with Reefborn. This will be the attachment to whatever city comes down over here. First order of business, though, is to go ahead and establish that coral spore. And again, it'll take a few turns, and my hope is that the coral will actually spread in this general direction to help pacify these guys without me having to pull off their quest. It's a relatively easy quest, but hopefully we can just pacify them through this alternative method instead. And again, this is a sweet spot over here, as it is right next to a anomaly, and that means that I'll get some labs down over here. We'll be able to get some good dust production, probably put down some farms and stuff as well. It'll take a fair bit of time for us to expand up to the anomaly up over there or the anomaly down over here, but a decent bit of an advantage given from this alone to kick things off. So this will be a good spot, I think. With that done, I believe we're ready to end our turn, so why don't we go ahead and do exactly that. Alright, nothing too chaotic happening just quite yet, apart from that one surprise close to the end of the previous episode. Things are looking pretty good, and I think I mentioned that I might just pull these guys back up to this spore over here to heal up this damaged unit, but the thing is that up over here, we get very slow regeneration, so I might as well pull all the way back into friendly territory to get a significantly higher amount of per turn regeneration. I will eventually, yes, turn this into a camp, but just as a reminder, I'm waiting to hit 160 influence or close to 160 influence because I'd like to involve this into a camp to claim the territory and then immediately afterwards attach it to the city rather than having to wait, a handful of turns. In the meantime, something else might happen where I might want to spend influence. So I'm not rushing to evolve this into a camp because, again, it's not necessarily threatened by an enemy that might come through and claim the territory before I can, right? So just leaving that be for the time being. These guys need a couple more turns. Go ahead and hurry along. Some minor factions roaming around, and the other aspect factions says we see beneficial relations ahead and their attitude has changed to friendly. Very well. What are they up to, actually? Let's take a quick peek over here. So yeah, you can see as their coral spreads further down, we're actually able to see just a little bit more as well. And that'll continue to happen. I feel like, they're not that far away from us, actually. Interesting. Might be able to present a united front down the line or something like that. But what's the deal over here? I don't know why these pop-ups are coming up again. Skip all those. These are just about establishing foundations with the help of influence. What's the deal here? One more turn until this lab is done. And after that lab is done, I'm probably going to go ahead and put down... What are we thinking? Works, perhaps? I could also try generating influence just a little bit faster so I can expand a bit more quickly. See, this is a good spot, for example, for one of these works, because these are both ridges, and the works get +1 for every adjacent ridge. So, I wouldn't mind expanding up this way. I know previously I was talking about wanting to expand down this way because there's some good opportunities over here to put down some works as well because they also get +1 industry on tile already producing industry, and we got some of those down here, right? So, part of me is tempted to wait, but part of me is also being realistic in that this is one of the most valuable outputs a city can have, so I might as well just kind of spam them, just put them down everywhere. And again, obviously, on the flip side, there's the lab that I want to put down because that'll work with the adjacency of this anomaly. Word was escaping me for a second, and get a bit more output than anywhere else. So it feels like putting a works down is suboptimal, but I think I got to make a couple of suboptimal decisions over here. Oh, and then there's the merchant's house, which again gets that extra dust because this tile is already producing dust. Decisions, decisions. We don't have too many of those, truth be told. Not too many opportunities to get extra dust out. And dust does allow us to rush construction. So it is, in some ways, an alternative to industrial output. Not the best alternative, but it is an alternative. You know what? Sure, let's go with it. Why not? Let's go with it. What's the worst that could happen, right? Though the other thing that I'm thinking about is potentially doing some recruitment between the works being put down and the merchant's house. So why don't we go ahead and queue that up? Because what might happen is by the time we get these two done, I might be actually able to expand, and that might change my decision on what district to build. So let's do that. And take a look at these guys over here. Just go ahead and rest up until you're fully healed. I don't want to send them exploring where there might be dangers, right? So leave them be there, and we do have a couple of quests en route, right? Or ongoing, I should say. This one, our main quest, is about to complete because of the coral spore we're building over here. This passing muster is to pacify the Xavius, so we'll see when that happens. And then there's handle with care. Collect 3 stashed curiosity. That's for these guys over here to pacify them. All right, fair enough. Those are the quests that are happening right now. Let's go ahead and complete the first stage of our story quest. And in fact, before we do that, let me just show you real quick the quest journal. I realize I've been talking about quests, but I haven't actually shown you this quest journal. If we go ahead and hit this spot up, you'll see this is the Great Dieback, Chapter 1. This is our main storyline, but there are pacification-related quests as well, and other world-related quests that'll come too. So just wanted to show that there's a bit more depth over here than you've already seen so far. And with that, let's go ahead and complete this first chapter of our main faction quest. The Great Dieback. The spore is planted. The first shoots of coral crack through the soil, healthy and radiant. A beautiful sight, I must say. One that makes old circuits hum. And no sign of disease? None. Relax, Plero. Our new variety appears to be immune, so far, to the blight. Soon, the chorus will sing again. I am happy to hear that, friend. But it troubles me that we are no closer to fathoming the cause of the blight. Nonetheless, we've got plus 10 approval at Reefborn, thanks to being ahead in the polls, and let's see what comes next. The coral remains healthy. We must take advantage of this time, Plero, not waste its potential. But many things weigh upon us. Construction, defense, research. We are so weak. Should we prioritize alliances or impress with might? Research other corals or slow down, Plero. Breathe. Yes. Harmony and balance. Harmony and balance. Harmony and balance. Good. Ever since the chorus failed, I've been anxious. I never realized how much that constant roar soothed me. None of us did. And you weren't named Plerogira the Innumerable for nothing. Nobody could better decipher the chorus. Now, one thing at a time. Starting with this coral, desperation drives us to protect it, improve it. And so we must build 3 foundations at Reefborn, giving us an envoy unit. Cool. So I guess it's kind of good that we didn't rush to build any foundations, because then we would have spent that influence but not actually gotten the benefit. So, very well. There's our quest completed. Beauty. Construction completed as well. We've got the lab done. So in, 2 turns, it looks like? We'll have asceticism completed. And again, that increases our defense. It also allows us to cohabitate with an additional minor faction. Curious what we'll do next, actually. So we've already got these 2 unlocked just by virtue of our faction, and that's why I've not talked about these options. We've already, put down a farm, for example. We have access to the forum. There is this option over here, Civil Order. Gives us communal habitation, which gives improved approval for each adjacent communal habitation. So you kind of can spam those to get some better output and happen upon more positive events. And then there's Spirited Inhabitants that gives us plus 10 approval on the capital itself. Not terrible, actually, not terrible. Though I do wonder about the Stronghold over here. Minus 5 approval for each adjacent communal habitation. Okay, that's easily avoided. And then we have the plus 10 fortification on capital. We'll probably need this eventually. We'll probably need that eventually, right? What does this give us again? The Lookout Tower. Plus 2 vision range on the City Hall. Decisions. None we have to make right away, so we'll give it the 2 turns and then make a call. You know what? The plus 25% gains on battle spoils is no joke either. Plus 25 experience on new units is also no joke. I mean, each of these options just pulls you in a different direction. All right, this spore has been established. Let's make our way down south over here. And I think pop the additional spore down perhaps over here. That'll give us access to 1, 2, 3 tiles for exploitation, and this 7 food as well. If we pop it down over here, we get 1, 2 to start with. Yeah, let's go ahead and maybe pop it down over here. I think that maximizes our potential. Yeah, looks like it. Cool. A couple turns before we can even do that, and we will need maybe a bit more dust. Yeah, 172. Like I said, it gets more expensive. Love this guy. This guy's fun. Yeah, it's just a bunch of little dudes in like a giant overcoat, basically. That's what it looks like. That's hilarious. Anyway, like I said, planting coral spore, or building, I suppose, coral spore gets more expensive as you do each one. So just need 172 for the next one. Our economy is all right. Obviously, as we grow our army and stuff, it's going to take a bit of a hit, but by that time we'll have additional cities. And again, this should provide us with a bit of an economic backbone, right? All right, that's this turn done. You guys are almost fully healed. Asceticism has been researched. Let's go ahead and chase after what? Let's get scavenging going, because the sooner we get the extra gains on battle spoils, the sooner we benefit from being in combat, right? Or the more we benefit from being in combat, which is, you know, an inevitability. It's right around the corner. We already had one. We're bound to have more very, very soon. Go ahead and keep pushing you down this way. We're out of movement. Up over here. Let's go ahead and explore just down this way, just to see what else is going on. Now let's take a look at our coral situation as well. Oh my goodness. So yeah, you can see the coral. So coral doesn't care about territories. It will spread in any direction. So it's actually gone up this way, I think chasing after the river. Like I said last session, coral is mostly random. It has some degree of predictability because it tries to move towards rivers, it tries to move towards the oceans, and so you can kind of guess where it might go, but you can't rely on it. Here it's worked out quite nicely, actually. I mean, eventually when the time comes to expand out of here, it'll make some of these spots more cheap. That's cool. All right, fair enough. Our turn there. And you can see the notification as well of the coral spreading when it actually happens, though, you know, you have to be lucky to catch it, obviously. Now, this is an interesting direction of expansion, because like I was saying previously, we can take advantage of the industrial output down there, taking us from 18 up to 20, as opposed to, you know, waiting to get all the way up to here. God, it would be nice, though. But hey, we'll take what we can get, right? Let the coral drive us. I'm a big fan, if you're new to the channel, or otherwise unfamiliar with how I do my Let's Plays, I'm a big fan of role-playing. I'm a big fan of letting the story and letting the events in-game influence the decisions I make. That often leads to suboptimal decision-making, but that's kind of the point. I personally am not a big fan of min-maxing. That's not to say I think min-maxing is an unacceptable way to play. No judgment or anything like that, to be clear. I totally get some folks enjoy that. For me personally, I prefer, letting kind of events unfold and then impact the way I actually play the game. So if the coral is pushing down this way, then so too shall I. You know, like that kind of stuff. I like it. Now, sometimes if it's, you know, going to force a stupid decision, I'm going to override it. But if it's a decision that can be justified, then I'll chase after it. Such as, maybe expanding down this way instead of up that way. Why not? Anyway, let's go ahead and further our explorations over here. Oh man, lots of dust. There is an anomaly or curiosity to pick up over there. I'm kind of tempted to split up once more. Keep these guys together for now. Move there. We'll split up, check these out, and then regroup in case that enemy army tries to hit us again. Because, we will be able to retreat, sure, but I don't want to, I don't want to chance it. Down over here, meanwhile, I was thinking this is where we pop the spore, right? Let's go ahead and pop you down there. And eventually this will be our second city. 3 more turns until that's done, and hopefully we can actually get our actual hero to join the army as well, because he's like the biggest strength we have, and he's all the way over there, so not ideal. Oh, and I should actually mention as well, should the coral spread onto land, which it can do, or onto water, of course it spreads onto land. Should the coral spread onto water, which it can do, we can actually walk on the coral itself. Armies that are walking on water like that cannot be attacked by the enemy. But if the coral is destroyed in some way, then that army basically drowns. Now, if I'm not mistaken, coral can only expand onto shallow water, not deep water. So we might see a bit of extension over here, but it feels like it'll probably drop off over there. Nonetheless, end our turn there. There's a bit of a coral expansion. Cool. Nothing else? Nothing else. Down over here, let's split these guys up. Push you up there. Nice, 15 dust, 15 influence. Taking us to just about our threshold for making this attachment happen, right? And then down over here, let's see what you get us. Oh. Damn, I wish I'd hit both of these guys with that boon. Oh well, it is what it is. Let's keep on creeping up. A little bit further. Bridges aren't terrible. I'm just setting myself up to be ambushed, aren't I? Split them up so much. I didn't expect the movement to be so boosted, but I think we're fine. Alright, end the turn, and then finally we can expand Reefborn. Oh, look at that. Now that's a ton of coral all at once. That's great to see. And you'll also notice, by the way, that our vision is extending with the coral. I mentioned last session that we can see through the coral, and that's why we can see these guys down over here. And you see their coral has actually expanded into the water. So again, they can walk on this shallow water now, and I can see through their coral as well. So it looks like they've established a second city over here. This is their Reefborn. Oh, are all their cities just called Reefborn? Oh no, this is attached to the city. Gotcha. Okay, that's what it looks like. So fair enough. And you're about to see what that looks like and what that actually means on our side as well, as we go ahead and evolve this into a camp. Now, the alternative option is, of course, not to do that, and instead build 3 foundations at Reefborn, because that'll also cost influence. What we're going to do, though, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and evolve this into a camp. Turn this coral spawn to a camp, claim the territory it's in. It'll retain the ability, I should have mentioned this before, to generate coral. So it'll still act as a source of coral growth. So that sounds good. And then immediately attach it to our city. Now, here's what's going to happen. When we attach, Reefborn is going to get the benefits of this camp's specific hex. So 2 dust and 1 industry. So let's go ahead, and that should take us from 18 and 27 to 19 and 29. Let's go ahead and attach to Reefborn. And I've done my math right. So there's obviously the benefit of this now being a ministry district as well. So there are some additional boons that I didn't include in that calculation. But this tile is now being exploited by Reefborn. And what we can do is build foundations around this tile to start taking advantage of these tiles. I wish there were synonyms for the word tile. Hexes, I guess. So rather than rush, or rather than spend 54 to extend from Reefborn's central district, or 108 at some of these locations that didn't have coral on them, I can go ahead and do it significantly more cheaply off this central hex of the ministry. I want to quickly point out the difference between establishing a city and attaching a camp to an existing city. When we put this city down, all of these adjacent hexes were immediately hit with foundations, whereas when we attach this to the city, there are no surrounding foundations. So you have to start from this central location outwards. The good thing is we've got some great opportunities here. This is why the location makes such a big difference. Location. It's all real estate. That 17 cost of influence to get 7 food per turn and 1 dust is absolutely huge for the growth rate at Reefborn. More science, more approval, even more food. Like these are great. This is fantastic. Very pleased with this. We need a couple of turns of influence, but we'll be there in no time. All right, keep on keeping on. Push up this way. Try and regroup, and try and pick some of these up. Am I being too nervous? Am I being overly cautious? Did we destroy the 1 unit that would threaten us over here? Was I a fool to loop back as opposed to just rush forward? Maybe. 1 more turn, and this spore will be ready. Beautiful. Now, it'll be some time before we actually establish this city, because first we'd have to evolve this into a camp, which is also more expensive now because we've already evolved one coral spore into a camp, so each subsequent one gets more and more expensive. And then again, it's like 300 plus influence to actually evolve it into a city of its own. So it'll be some time before we before we do that. Ooh, what was this? Damn, walk right past it. I'll have to check that out. We've got a curious state of affairs in Delegation Perogira, the innumerable. What's happening? The army cook wants to be Sayada's best chef. They're spicing up every dish they serve the soldiers with whatever local ingredients they can get their hands on. Those soldiers sound lucky. Most army slop is tasteless gruel. That was the case for a while, but things are getting out of hand. Now they're flavoring their dishes with shavings they harvest from this odd place. I see. And the soldiers might get sick, I suppose. I think it's inevitable if the cook carries on like this. What do you want to do? So, this is a classic example of a random world event that gives you a couple of options to choose from, each with their own pros and cons. So, if we encourage this cook, we'll get, a small bump to our approval across our cities. And, but the cost will be a slightly slower army over here for 10 turns. That's no small amount. If we consult consult the chef to see what he would suggest we do, then we'd get better defense, and we'd get even more better defense. Oh, is there more to this? Oh, Jesus, that's a lot of bumps to defense. Okay, that's no joke. Or if we summon the cook and have him serve the Empire's elite, then we'll get plus 20 dust per character appointed to the Council on Cities? Excuse me? Now, we're about to get counselors very, very soon, and that sudden increase in dust is no small matter. Okay, let's summon this cook, because losing movement for 10 whole turns in the early game sounds rather expensive. So let's summon this cook, and even though it won't be advantageous for us right off the bat, I believe literally next turn we'll be able to start taking advantage of this. Oh, if we... Damn, this might actually not work out like I'm planning here. Plus 5 defense. It's gotta be temporary. Again, we've got some missing strings and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, this is a very, very early build of the game. So some missing strings here and there. But let's not make a mountain out of a molehill. Let's summon this chef and see if we can't take advantage of this like I have planned. Confirm this path. I'm impressed by this cook's drive and dedication. I want them in Reefborn, serving the aspect's most important figures within the month. Only the best for the best, eh? Damn right. Mainly, I don't want my army to slow down. Cool. What do we got over here? So these are, again, random world events that you stumble upon as you travel. And, right. So we're making the merchant's house. We've already spent some production into it. It carries over from the previous production. We had some surplus. And I guess that's fine. Would I have done things a little differently? Potentially. But I think we're okay. Yeah, I could do 1, 2, 3. Get a bit more production out of this tile over here. Makes up for the missing +1. And I can obviously also expand down this way for 54 influence when the time comes. Sure. No time for regrets. This army should make its way down over here. I could join forces. Oh, you know what? We're all going to meet up somewhere over here anyway, so I might as well head this way. Join these guys together. And that's our turn. Beauty. And again, you can see the spore or the coral expanding. Really would like to see some pacification come through it. Oh, and look at that. Continues to expand down this way. Which also provides us with industrial output and a bit of dust as well. What's the deal up over here? Pick up there. And just keeping an eye on these guys as well. Just because I find it interesting that I can see what they're up to. I just think it's kind of cool. Alright. These guys to form up. And let's slowly creep forward. I think the threats are probably all taken care of, truth be told. And our turn there. Scavenging has been researched. Perfect. Before we got into any combat, so we get the benefits right away. And we need one more tech in the years of survival before we can move to the years of toil and have that many more options to choose from. I think one that we'll probably maybe rush towards is this collective will, and I'll explain why when we get to it, because otherwise we'll just be sat here for the next 5 minutes talking about something that I probably won't even be able to do until next session. Communal habitations, +1 population slot on population vocations is no joke. It's eventually helpful for when cities get larger and larger. The ability to defend our capital, also probably not a terrible idea. And both of these are actually recommended options. Actually, all 3 of the available options are recommended options at this point in time. You know what? Let's go with civil order. Get that +10 approval on capital. I think it's more in keeping with our faction as well. And we'll start building fortifications when the world starts to push back a bit more aggressively. So far, we've only had 1 battle. So sure, that's how we'll justify that decision. And let's go ahead and try to form up over here. I believe these guys are able to move. Oh. 30 science. Not going to complain about that. Removed a whole turn of time spent researching. Another 30 science. And that's another 2 turns of research removed. We'll eventually pick this up. I don't think... Okay, those were... yeah.
Rain clouds darken the sky's aspects, while rifts scar the lands. The balance between life and death is at stake.
All right. So, we've been hit by a monsoon. Taragira the Innumerable, the other one, continues to think we're going to see beneficial relations ahead. That's all well and good. But let's turn our attention now to the sudden change in weather conditions across Sayada. So, every so many turns, we're going to see this monsoon season kick in. When the monsoons begin, we're going to see new curiosities crop up. These are special curiosities. They're only available during that monsoon. They will disappear as soon as the monsoon ends, which can take a variety of number of turns. Here, it seems like it might be 10 or 11 turns, or anywhere between 1 and 11 turns. I'm guessing it'll be on the higher end of that. So, if we want to take advantage of these new boons, we only have so much time to do so. And you might want to go chasing after them. But apart from that, this monsoon also triggers the unlocking of council seats. That's what I was talking about when we had that cook. If I can go ahead and assign some people to our council, then I can actually generate some additional dust through that assignment. So let's head to our council over here. And right now, we only have access to 2 council seats. Down the line, after the second monsoon, we'll get a third. And after the third monsoon, we'll get the last one. Pretty self-explanatory. But let's actually see if we have people available to assign. We do. Beautiful. So, let me really quickly explain some of this. There are characters throughout the world. Some of these characters are our own people. Some of these characters are notables from these minor factions. So, you'll see if I take a look at the Unseeing Seers, if I pacify them, I'll have unlocked Hodron Im as a notable. And when I have Hodron Im on my council, regardless of which seat, once Hodron Im is on my council, I will get +10 influence per pacified village that is also a protectorate, which is this whole thing that has a certain influence cost, right? So it isn't consistent across all of these minor factions. If I go up over here to the Xavius, we can see that, again, through cohabitation, I should have mentioned, through cohabitation, we unlock this notable, Hodron Im in this case, up over here, Mantamire, and if we were to assign that notable to our council, we'd get certain boons. Fortification, vision range, cool. Up over here, these black hammers, so they are actually pacified, right? So I can cohabitate with them. It gives me Slem, who gives us +5 approval per pacified village under protectorate on keeps districts specifically, and then also +2 energy. So it gets pretty... what's the word I'm looking for? Like nitty-gritty. Sometimes there's a lot of variables involved, but it's a good thing to keep an eye out 4 and on when you're deciding which minor factions to actually pacify, and perhaps more importantly, which ones you want to cohabitate with or assimilate for the purposes of taking advantage of these notables and their effects. But said, let's turn our attention now to our council and see who we actually have available and who we might want to assign. For a cost of dust, we can force a reassignment, or we can wait until a following monsoon to do it for free. Who do we have here? So we've got Emmanuel the Debater. Minus 30 industry cost on district. Just in general, just every district costs less to build. Because that's wild. He is an iron magnate. That makes sense. We've got Pacifying the Steadfast. That's our hero who's out there right now. He's a colonizer. Plus 5 influence per camp on Empire. Okay, right now we have none, but we have 2 coral spores that we could update, right? Or upgrade into camps. It also costs modifier effects. Minus 50% influence cost for assimilate action. Minus 50 influence cost for cohabitation action. Okay, fair enough. And that's Athena the Silent. Minus 30 influence cost on foundation. All pretty good, actually. So, I feel like the Iron Magnate, who makes things cheaper to build, is an obvious choice, considering this is still the early game. We're going to be doing a lot of building. So, Emmanuel is one of them. It's so funny to see, like, the vast difference in name, by the way. Polemophon, Athena, Emmanuel. It's just like a regular kind of dude. All right, Emmanuel, you are one of our counselors, and I think Athena makes sense as well as the other one. Reduced influence on establishing foundations allows our attached camp to grow that much more quickly. It allows us to exploit territory more quickly, and it gives us access to new tiles upon which to build districts more quickly. So these are a very good pairing, actually. And yep, I can freely appoint, revoke, and move counselors between seats at this point in time. They'll be locked again at the end of the current turn. But yeah, let's validate these changes. And you'll see that the council is now locked. So I cannot appoint, revoke, or move counselors. I can either wait for the next monsoon or pay dust to unlock the council and make changes. If we go ahead and take a look now. Yeah, look at that. 2, 4, 39. Oh, that's such a right call. And the merchant's house. It used to cost 130. Let me see something quickly here. Yeah, was this 7 turns and now it's down to 6? I can't recall. To be perfectly honest, I'd have to check on playback, but I think those are the right calls. Let's go ahead and do some expanding. Let's establish some foundations. So again, Reefborn is the one that's being impacted by this expansion, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So 20 turns until our next population. 8 turns until our next population. Oh, beautiful. And let's pop this one as well. I just love seeing the impact it has, right? We're at 59% up over here. We're at 11 up over here, 8 turns. Our next tech comes in 3 turns when I go ahead and pop this one. Look at that, 5 turns, 64%. People are happy now. Oh, that's good stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, happy actually increases our productivity. So we're seeing more output across the board here. Well, not across the board, across some of the FIDZ output. And then I guess I was gonna, I guess which one do I want next? Do I want one of these that gives us dust as well as industrial output? Do I expand up this way and establish a, well, I can't afford it. Well, actually, you know what? I can't afford anything right now. So, despite our counselors, I think it's time for me to step away from this and enjoy the fact that we have just better population growth. In fact, on the topic of population, I wonder if I want to shift these guys around a little bit. What if I move you over to here? This would still take 2 turns. Gives a bit more science, a bit more influence. Other option is to scooch him over to here. Shave 1 turn off of the growth rate. Not worth it. Let's go ahead and pop you over there. Get influence collecting just that little bit faster so we can establish our additional, camps and cities and things like that. Yeah. Alright, sweet deal. That was fun. Let's go ahead and take a quick gander at our... Oh, look at that. See? So the coral has actually gone down this way and is probably pushing towards this river over here. I'm trying to remember. I think it prioritizes rivers and lakes over oceans, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, cool to see this expansion in action. I just think it's such a cool mechanic. Some of you mentioned in the comments of the previous episode that one of your favorite things is how asymmetric Amplitude tends to make their factions. And my response to that is yes. They do such a good job of it. It's so cool to me. Probably one of my favorite things about the first Endless Legend game, actually, is like, whoa, these factions, man, they're completely different. They have really cool different backstories. They have really cool different mechanics, completely different mechanics and systems, and they're doing the same thing over here, so that's super cool. Okay, you know what? Polemophon? Yeah, you're going to come back. You're going to scoop this up. You're going to scoop that up before this monsoon ends, and hopefully scoop this up as well. A couple of pickups that we'll want to rush. Go ahead and see what's available here. Some dust, some healing, and some extra movement as well. Let's go ahead and take advantage of that for sure. Go up to pick that up. Down over here, I might split these guys up again. Bring part of this delegation back. And you can eventually build roads, by the way, in case you're wondering. That is absolutely a thing. Push you over this way, buddy. And the rest of you can creep up to here. I think we'll actually get a curiosity here and a curiosity there. Sounds good to me. Some science, and that allows us to unlock the next era of research. We'll take a look at that shortly. Then separately, we've completed the quest that asked us to check out 3 curiosities. Handled with care. No stone unturned, eh? Nice work. Since we got the shipment, we'll let you in on a little secret. Welcome to the family. So we got some dust, some vision around a specific target, I guess, and it pacifies the consortium as well. Interesting. Interesting. So when I was playing to get a bit more familiar with the game, I'd come across a quest with the consortium that started off the same, but ended differently. I'm so sure it ended differently. And I'm sure in the middle it was a little different as well. But now I'm questioning my memory, to be perfectly frank with you. But that's interesting, actually. I didn't realize that these could be so different from each other. Nonetheless, over to the tech tree. So, this got rushed thanks to the pickups we just had. 25 per turn, actually. How much do you? 6 turns. Not immediate. Because if these were like going to only take 1 turn, I might stay here for a bit longer. But no, let's move on to the years of toil. So once more, up over here, we have an option that'll allow us to get additional... Oh, is it not? Am I thinking about down the line? Again, these are some placeholder visuals, of course. There's another tech I can get for access to an additional faction for cohabitation. We're nowhere near our current limit, so I'm not going to rush it, but I just wanted to point that out. But I guess I was a little ahead of myself there. All right, we got a bunch of options over here. Iron Games 1 allows me to recruit a new hero. Not in a rush to do that just quite yet. Coral Amplifier unlocks a bunch of units for us. Or a bunch of unit specializations, I should say. Something we'll investigate. In fact, why not just right now? Every unit, with the expense of some strategic resources, can specialize. You can choose what skill you want them to acquire as they're specializing, or... No, sorry, apologies. They'll unlock all the skills that show over here, or all the skills that show over here, depending on which branch you've chosen. You can see immediately there are some differences between them in terms of statistics as well, whether they'll have higher defense or not, and the skills actually will have an impact on combat that you'll find these guys in too. Actually, some skills are inside combat, some are outside combat. We'll get more into the nitty-gritty of this stuff when we're actually making these decisions. I don't want to get bogged down, but as you can see, the specialization tree goes further than just one step. So once you choose a branch, you kind of go further down there, versus these guys, kind of a similar setup. You can choose a branch and then it goes down for an extra step. Different units will have different outcomes of the decisions you make and different strategic resource requirements as well. Very different from the first game, how you would customize units. So it's quite different. And I'm curious what you actually think about that. So let me know in the comments down below if you have any opinions on this system versus the first game system, if you're familiar with it. But anyway, back to this technology. It unlocks all those specializations. It does also unlock, if I'm not mistaken... No, I am mistaken. I thought this unlocked another unit, but fair enough. Fair enough. Turn our attention then back to collective will, which I alluded to earlier. This, if I'm not mistaken, apart from giving us everything listed here, like the +4 industry to capital and all of that, should also allow us to, yes, build either the Sanctity of Nature, the Beacon of Science, or the Spire of Industry, each with its own sets of benefits. But in common, we have +1 city level on the city and +1 attachable territory on the city. Previously, we were only able to attach one camp to Reefborn. But if Reefborn were to get this upgrade, it would be able to attach another camp to itself. So rather than just being limited to 1 and 2, we could actually do 1, 2, and 3, for example. Or 1, 2, and 3 as we get further out this way. That is something that I'm probably going to want to invest in sooner rather than later, because I'd like Reefborn to be kind of a sprawling city rather than having multiple tiny cities to deal with. That's my thinking, at least. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and pursue the collective will technology. Not sure if that's the best move. There are other options, of course, like getting access to roads a bit more quickly, like I was alluding to just moments ago. We can also chase after these improvements that we can build on our lab, and these will allow us to get more to advance through technology a little bit more quickly, which, you know, is not a bad idea. The sooner you can get something like this, the sooner you can move forward. I believe we can get upgrades for our farm as well as the laborer's hut, but you can see these things start to cost strategic resources, so they're not as easy to acquire as some of the baseline districts. All right, let's go ahead with collective will. I think that's the right call for now. We'll second guess ourselves later. I think that's that. Let's go ahead and end the turn there and see what else this monsoon has to offer us. Movement up over there. Hopefully not anything dangerous. Another pickup down there. There's this pickup down here. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and pick this up. Some dust, extra movement. Pick up there as well. Oh, there's so much. And again, these are only available for the duration of the monsoon, and that's why I'm kind of rushing them as opposed to anything else right now. Let's go ahead and send, yeah, you're already headed down this way, so let's keep that happening. And there's this one. These guys can go ahead and chase after that one. There's these guys. Let's just take a peek to see and make sure this is in fact the end there. And yeah, you can see because there is coral over here, we can actually walk across the river. Like, we can't walk up there, but we can walk over here. Yes, move. Okay, stuck in the river now. End our turn there, I think. Yeah. How are we looking in terms of coral spread? Right, so these guys have been pacified because our coral has actually hit their village. And up over here, these guys have also been pacified because, again, our coral has landed on their village. If I try to turn them into protectorates, though, I can't. Why is that? Well, because I actually have to have them in my territory before I can turn them into protectorates. So it's just a matter of time before these guys become options. But I wanted to point out that, yes, they have in fact been pacified. They're no longer going to spawn enemies or armies and things like that. So you're going to come down here. You're going to come down here. You're going to come over there. End our turn. Okay. It said protectorate's ready, and I was like, am I about to eat my words? Have I misspoken? No. Right, good coral spread. Let's go ahead and pick this up. Man, that's so much dust. I gotta spend some of this money. And let's push down this way to pick up whatever's down over here. Go ahead and grab this. Even more dust. I mean, you can see how much of a difference this makes, right? Like, this is game-changing for my next handful of turns. I have enough dust to rush so much construction, so much recruitment. And so that's why I'm spending the time to, yeah, see what all this stuff is, because it can absolutely, like, make the next, handful of turns, let's call it. Keep on poking around here. We might have seen everything there is to see. There is another curiosity up there. But first, let's turn our attention to Reefborn, which needs to build its next district. Or, actually, we've got more than enough influence, I think, to buy another foundation. And perhaps we expand down this way, get some more industrial output, get a bit more dust as well, and take advantage of, yeah, the direction in which the coral is pushing us, right? Yeah, I would like to get a workshop down over here, just to take advantage of these ridges. But the coral says we go down in this direction. So pop this and complete the second chapter of our main quest, the Great Dieback. I feel a spark of hope Pharaoh. The chorus will be renewed. We've done well, but we are far from safe. Come, we should enjoy our victories, even if they are small ones. Several were inspired enough to offer themselves as fighters. Our forces are stronger than ever. That is certainly something to celebrate. But, Tritalon, do you imagine we will one day hear the magnificent chorus again? Or is it forever lost? So, we've gained ourselves the promised envoy. But let's go ahead and see what comes next. Since establishing new coral reefs, Theragira had begun to look to the future. The yields are unstable, and the fields require constant care. Shadows still loom over the illuminated realm, with worrying questions about the dieback and the chorus. Theragira is anxious once more, seeking counsel. What is happening to this world, my friend? The dieback, our chorus, our harmony. Are we living on a doomed world? We're here to deal with the present, Plero, not predict the future. All I know is that we must persist, no matter what this world throws at us. Well said. In fact, we must get to know this world better than we do, or thought we did. Exactly. There are many lesser nations on these lands. It may be worth communicating with them and seeing what they may know. Indeed. We're all part of the harmony. Let us move. Ah, damn it. Just my luck. Pacify 2 villages by coral. I did it prematurely. These don't apply retroactively, so I now have to hope that we actually pacify 2 other villages through coral and get this influence and move forward for the rest of the main quest. We do have these guys up over here that we might still hit. They've already been pacified. Oh right, because I completed their quest. No way. I can't believe I put myself in this position. It's fine. I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world or anything. That's funny though. I mean, maybe the coral will spread up in this direction and up in this direction, and that'll do the trick. Or maybe we'll have to find minor villages in other territories where we can pacify them through our coral instead. Dang, that is just my luck though. That is just my luck. This is the envoy we were gifted, right next to the curiosity up over here. So let's go ahead and investigate it. Another 78 dust. My goodness. My goodness. There's more to explore up there. There's one more down here, right? Yeah. Alright. Keep pushing. Keep exploring. Love to do. Oh, you guys can still move. Let's go. And Reefborn sits idle. I'm thinking we go ahead and... yeah, build the works down over here. What else have we got here? The communal habitations. We've got the trading post. This allows us to build roads between districts containing a trading post. But we're working on... well, we need to work on the markets technology first. Alternatively, can we, yes, build improvements on the farm? So you get a couple of options, some requiring technologies and strategic resources, some requiring only time and industrial output. If we build the community improvement on this farm, we'll get plus 10 food and plus 1 population slot on all the population locations. It can only be built once per city. It'll take us 8 turns to do so, and plus 10 food doesn't sound like a terrible idea. 8 turns. Again, the alternative being to, yeah, put down some works. We can just probably pay for it right off the bat, truth be told. Plus 2, plus 3. God, I really wish we'd expanded up this way. I wish the coral had gone up that way, but it is what it is. Let's take a look at our lab over here as well. So these are the 2 improvements that we cannot build because we don't have the research, the tech done or the strategic resource. And if we take a look at the market house, you can see here again, there are some improvements available. But yeah, let's go ahead and put down these works. And yeah, I can pay for it right off the bat. Now, spending half of our wealth for one district seems like overkill. So we'll give it a couple of turns, make it a bit cheaper, or maybe see how many other curiosities give us huge piles of dust and make a decision accordingly. But if we take a look at population... do I want to shift these guys over? Yeah, sure. We could take 6 turns instead. 1 more turn for population growth is not the end of the world. And that's our turn. I love seeing the growth spurts. It's so cool. It's so good. Oh my goodness. But yeah, this is absolutely massive. This is absolutely massive. I mean, we could put farms down over here because of the adjacent river tiles. They would be quite powerful farms, actually. That's something to consider as we expand down this way, as opposed to expand up that way. All right, pick some of these curiosities up. Even more dust, beautiful. Anything else down over here? Doesn't seem to be the case. Oh, actually, there's one right up over there. So we'll grab that, and up over here, these guys are still going around. I love how, like, atmospheric these monsoons are. It's so beautiful. I mean, look at the raging waves and everything. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. And if you zoom out, you can actually see the coastline shifting. Because obviously it's just taking information from what is and isn't water and turning it into this stylized map. But it's just cool to see. And this isn't even the half of it. You're about to see something even crazier if I can get there this session. Let's go ahead and pick this up. That's me telling myself to hurry up. More dust. Cool. Who's left? You guys? Push. It's our turn. Nice. That's pushed up in the right direction. And this has pushed into... Oh, sweet. It'll take quite a bit of influence before we can establish that next city. And up over here, these guys, because they have not been pacified, they're an individual... Like these guys, they've been pacified, so they're not going to attack us. These guys, they've not been pacified, so they will attack us, and they have attacked us. We're probably going to want to retreat. Instant resolution means death, and manual battle almost certainly means death as well. So I'm going to say, considering the power estimation, we retreat. Pull back. Into friendly territory. Heal up. We'll be good. Yeah, if this coral just goes up that way, then these guys will be pacified, and I'll have nothing to worry about there. Down over here. Poking around. Need to be anything else. Scoop this up. Ooh, heavy mace found. And torso leathers. Now, those aren't going to apply to Pacifying because of his class. The heavy mace is a two-handed weapon. He is a ranged user. What I'm looking for, archer. So he's not going to be able to use melee weapons. But the torso leathers, plus 35 health on hero, plus 1 defense on hero. I don't see why not. Pop that on you. Gives us the extra defense there and improved health as well. Right, from 120 up to 155. That sounds good to me. Sweet deal. Also left these guys. Sure. Let's get everyone to regroup now, I think. So by completing quests, you pacify all of their villages. By using coral, they're individually pacified. More dust, faster movement, stuff. Trying to figure out if I want to pop another coral down somewhere over here. I mean, like, this isn't terrible. You got this production, you got this production, some science as well. Not amazing, but, you know, you got a couple of spots you can drop a lab in to take advantage of the adjacency bonuses. Nonetheless, end the turn. No coral growth this time around. Let's take a look at these guys. Oh my goodness. Decent bit of coral growth over here. They really expanded the city, eh? This one as well. They've got themselves a works over there. Ah, I see. They got these ridges that they're taking advantage of. Cool. Very cool. 20. We should just let our influence collect for a little bit. And let's regroup our armies as well. I don't see any other collectibles. We've done good this monsoon, it looks like. We've definitely burned a lot of dust. So sure, let's go ahead and regroup. Get our army together here. These guys can stay put until they're healed up. Down over here, let's get you moving up as well. Cool. That's the turn done. Population growth, bit of coral spread, and these guys' attitude has changed to indifferent. Very well. Well, the coral went up there. Maybe we'll be able to build a works up there to take advantage of this ridge potentially. Fair enough. Fair enough. Move you up this way to regroup and pick up whatever's over here as well. Some more dust. Is that... No, that's not another pickup. The glow of the dust versus the shimmer of the curiosity threw me off there. Alright. These guys are able to join up over there. We're going to come up this way. Let's give everyone their commands to form up over here. Collective will has been researched. Oh, beautiful. So they've been pacified now. Is it the coral spread? And that should mean, yep, 1 of 2 villages have been pacified through coral. Cool. Now we just have to hope that this coral goes up that way, but you can see it's pushed down this way into the water first. Hopefully it'll turn around and hit these guys. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Didn't really need to form up then, but too late. We've already done so. There's no other curiosities to chase. Group up. So. Alright, who's left? Works are almost done. We got to figure out what comes next, and we also got to figure out what we want to research next. Blast furnace, take some strategic resource we don't have access to yet. I mean, this isn't a bad idea, actually, the mine shaft, because when the time comes and we come across these sources of these strategic resources, we'll be able to build the glass steel mine, the titanium mine, etc., etc. So that's not a terrible idea. Is that the right call right now, though? What's the game recommending? The market's probably not a bad idea either. Get those roads established so we can move around our own territory just a little bit more quickly. Up over here, persuasion. We can force a treaty. We can do consular. We can build consular missions. Plus 20 approval on the district. Reduce influence cost on treaties. Oh, that's not bad, actually. We are supposed to be diplomats. We are supposed to be diplomats. But, you know, being a merchant is a kind of diplomat. Yeah, you know what? Sure. Let's go ahead and pursue markets, and then we'll pursue persuasion afterwards. Let's get those queued up. Yeah, that sounds good to me. That's our turn done. Indeed. No more coral spread, that's fine. Go up over here. Pick up a pile of dust, I'm assuming. Yeah, beautiful. And let's go ahead and start pulling you back and regroup wherever we can meet up. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, this coral is fantastic. Look at that. Look at that. I can actually go ahead and, with enough influence, I still need a bit more influence. 20, 81... and whatever it'll cost to get this one, I can actually get to this anomaly too. So quickly, such cheap and quick expansion, thanks to our coral. All right, go ahead and form up, and you sit idle. So what do we get you to do? What do we get? Some cheaper. Could get a works down there, like I was saying. Let's see. +2, +1, +3. Goes down here. You know what? I might actually be better off going down in this direction, getting another works down over here instead. Alternatively, as I've been saying, just do the community improvement over here, which will now take 5 turns as opposed to, what was it, 8 previously? Sure. Let's get that growth happening just that little bit faster. And if we take a look at population right now, seems like a decent spread. We might actually consider cohabitation now. Because we got decent influence output. -5 isn't going to be the end of the world. We don't have any keeps districts, so this might be what encourages us to actually go back to that first tech level and acquire some of that research. +2 industry on scribes isn't terrible either, but that's only if these guys' population get assigned as scribes, not our aspects. Might not be a terrible idea. We also get access to these warsmiths. All right. No, you know what? Let's keep it going for the time being because, like I said, I want to get a second city established. I want to get all this work done over here. So let's preserve our influence for the time being. All right. So, as our coral spreads and the turn ends, the Monsoon, too, concludes. And you might be able to tell things look a little different here. And that's because with the end of the Monsoon comes Tidefall. And the Tidefall is one of the key mechanics that is just completely different in Endless Legend 2. Unlike anything I've seen in any 4X game, and it solves one of the biggest issues in the genre, at least in my humble opinion, which is how static the world gets as you get into the mid and late game. In 4X games, you typically end up choked out. You only have so much space to expand into, you start meeting other factions, you can't expand any further, this, that, and the other thing, and you start having to like negotiate terms on land, and it's always kind of finite. And that's fine. I mean, I enjoy 4X games. I love this genre in general, and it works out well. But here, Amplitude decided, no. Instead, every X number of turns, and it's a little randomized, like it's not always the exact same turn count, you're going to get monsoons, and shortly after the monsoons, you're going to get Tidefall. And that makes the waters recede. This is tied into the world's lore. It's tied into what's going on on the planet, etc., etc. Like there's all sorts of reasons why this is happening, but from a gameplay perspective, it gives you access to more land to expand into, it gives you access to new curiosities to check out, and it also gives you access to fortresses. So these are defended citadels and fortresses and keeps and things like that, which have a decent amount of reward to offer if you're willing to take on the risk. Now, we have managed to make a sizable army. Not necessarily the strongest army. We might be able to take some of these on. This one feels extremely dangerous considering it's labeled as threatening, but maybe we can find some that aren't so threatening as we go and explore some of these new lands. So there's a threatening subterranean shrine over here. There's this fortress down over here, as pointed out previously, and surely there's more out this way as well. But like, yeah, as you can see, this has expanded absolutely. I mean, this is a huge expansion. This could be a land bridge to a whole other faction. And so, you have to really consider how you expand, how you plan. You have to prepare for the inevitable Tidefall and what regions that might unlock. This was a little unpredictable. We saw there was some shallow land over here, so you figured that, yeah, there's going to be a bit of expansion going on down over here. Unfortunately, this is a separate territory, and so I won't be able to spread my city down southwards, and that's not the end of the world, obviously. But you can kind of plan for what's going to come next, but sometimes you'll also be thrown for a loop by a surprise like this one. Fair enough. I was wondering if we wouldn't get a land bridge over here. Oh, you know what? Actually, hang on. Is this... Ooh. Might we actually be connected? That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Okay. And then down over here, these guys have experienced landfall as well. So all of these coral that were previously underwater are now above water, and all this land has been exposed. They've got a glass steel deposit. They're quite lucky. What else can we see over here? Not much. They haven't expanded too far out over here. We can only see what their coral sees, not what their units see. So we only know so much, not everything. Nonetheless, pretty cool to see landfall actually happen, or Tidefall actually happen. I wanted to extend this episode just a few minutes longer because I really wanted to show this massive feature of the game before we got too many episodes deep. But yeah, so Tidefall has just happened. We have a lot more land to now explore, expand into, exploit, and perhaps exterminate. You don't really exterminate the land, but we'll find things upon the land to exterminate perhaps. And if I'm lucky, Our coral will expand up this way and pacify this second village. If I'm unlucky, then we might need to find another village somewhere out over here instead. Got a couple other spots that might get hit by our coral. But nonetheless, folks, this is actually where we're going to go ahead and call it a session. A little bit longer than the typical hour that I aim for, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you know what to do. Let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below, as it makes a huge difference in just letting me know what people are enjoying on the channel and what I should do more or less of. Let me know what you think about some of the mechanics that you saw today, actually. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on what I'm quite excited by, actually. I mean, Tidefall is a game changer. It's a genre changer, and I cannot wait to see Civilization 8 find its, historical equivalent version way of doing it. Look, it's not lost on me how much Civ 7 looks like humankind, so I'll just say it. Anyway, folks, jokes aside, this is just super cool to me, and I'm glad I got to show it in episode 2. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. That keeps us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.